Okay, we're on.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Tilton Police Station Construction Committee to order at 5:39. The only person that we are missing this evening momentarily is Eric Pyra. He will be here later on. The first order of business tonight is to approve the minutes of previous meetings. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the non-public session.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Oh,
actually, I need a second.
Second.
All right, Chuck Drew seconds it.
So you made the motion to approve the minutes?
No.
Who made the motion to approve?
I made the motion, but can we have discussion on them? Because I don't understand as a typo, I think.
Pat, can you answer that question?
We'd have to go into non-public to discuss it
Well,
on the typo, unless you can without divulging the information if it's just an incidental typo.
well, if I just slide it across the table. Liz be hired to them? What does 15 have to do with them? I thought they were... No.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So yeah, it is a good catch. So,
I'm just asking because I wasn't here.
right, so where it starts out with T. Pearson, the number 15 should be number 6, if you read that.
Okay,
That's a question.
that's a question. I thought it was a statement. Okay.
Well, I think it is.
I'm pretty sure that is, it should be number 6, and then it should be corrected that way. So our motion should be amended as corrected. So that
Yes,
15
as-
should be number 6.
You see
You
what
have
I'm
a
talking
written-
about? Sure.
You have, I do.
Okay.
You have a written correction on for notation there
Yeah, we
that
do.
we can submit.
I could take one of these too.
Yeah.
If you want. I'll just do this.
Yeah, because I started scribbling and circling and circles and the arrows and the paragraph and the back.
So maybe what you could do is just have everyone put their eyes on that written correction. Unless everyone follows what
We just
Are
correct.
you good? Are you good with it?
I think so. I
Six.
mean,
Is everyone okay with the correction?
That's the only thing I picked up, unless there's...
Okay. No, good catch.
Got something else.
No, good catch.
Okay. So you amended your motion to accept the minutes as corrected
Yes.
for the non-public,
Okay.
and you amended your second. Whoever seconded.
Yeah, Chuck. All those in favor of the amended minutes?
In this, it's a roll call vote.
It's a roll call vote. Okay. Jason
Aye.
and Pat, you are not voting.
Yes, I am.
You are. Okay, Pat.
Aye.
Aye. Chuck.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Ken.
Aye.
Brian.
I'm not.
So you can't vote.
No.
And yes.
Okay, so
The non-public minutes have been approved.
I will make a motion to seal the non-public minutes as corrected until the matters are resolved.
And I second that.
Okay. Is that by roll call vote
Yes.
also? Okay.
All
Pat.
Yes.
Jason.
right. Aye.
Chuck.
Yes.
Tom.
Aye.
Ken. And yes.
So do we shred these now?
They
So
get
it
passed back in,
Yeah.
and then they shred it.
Marked them up for nothing.
Yeah. Let me go to twist.
Okay. The minutes of the October 4th meeting.
Take them back? Yep. Oh. I got them on the computer, I got them right
No, these are the non-publics. Those are the ones
So
you
we
don't
won't have
have.
there. Okay.
These get sealed in an envelope
okay.
downstairs.
Did everyone receive and read a copy of the October 4th?
We have an email.
Yep. They were emailed to you?
I have not read them
I
yet.
have not read them yet.
Okay, then I
I
don't.
did get them.
Okay, I'm going to pass around a paper copy. and I'd rather not take the time to read through those
that's
tonight. And we'll take up
We
this.
can approve them next week.
Yep.
We have 2 sets, right?
Yep, 2 sets.
Okay.
And then there is the October 11th meeting.
What's this one? I don't really need one. Where's the next one? The next one.
Is that one, Ryan?
So the 4th and the 11th, right?
On the 11th, I did not see where there was the nominations and the appointment of the chair and the vice chair.
Yeah, so that one.
Yeah.
On last week?
I took it out of the
Yes.
computer.
Could you?
I did not see that on last week's minutes.
It's last week's check.
Okay.
Was that? I did get it, I just haven't.
Nope, that happened here. Yeah, so we missed,
Okay, so let me get this and I'll make a note of that.
okay,
It was by ballot.
it was by ballot.
All right, so this one is the election. Committee. Chair. Vice chair. Good point.
You good with that one?
Yep.
Before we start the workshop portion of our tonight's meeting, I think before we start it, I think we need to have a discussion about lot values. But all of that discussion, Pat, will need to be done in non-public, is that correct? The values of the lots and the way we potentially could move forward with business.
The negotiations, we need to pick the lot, but the actual negotiations and the price of it would be in non-public only because it's part of a negotiating the sale and lease of property. You don't really want to tip your hand when you're trying to buy property.
I would agree.
So, no.
So I do have some concerns about that before we actually, it's relative to what we're going to discuss tonight, but I think out of the fact that Jason and Chuck are here, and hopefully Eric will be here, I'd like to have that discussion because I have some thoughts based on the direction it could push us. So can I make a motion as the chair to go into non-public?
Mhm.
Okay. I'd like to motion to go into non-public session to discuss.
So
Second
it
that.
would be per RSA 91A:3, the sale, here. Hold on one second. So enter into non-public session under RSA D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, lease of real personal property, which is discussing right there. So
Okay.
that's
So I
what
just
we-
need to read that in
Yep.
order to make the motion.
That's correct.
All right. So again, I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public session to discuss consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease or of real or personal property, which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those in the general community. A roll call vote. Pat,
Yes.
do we need to
Oh, I'll
second
did
I'll
second
second
it, yeah.
You seconded it?
Earlier.
Okay, so
All right,
Jason
so
seconds
Jason
that.
Modified it.
And a roll call vote. Pat,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right, and yes.
Now do we have to pause the camera or are they gonna
Yep.
delete it?
No, we
Okay.
pause it.
Actually, I saw Tim's, or somebody
cannot
scooped
edit.
that back up on 2 weeks ago.
Can't edit.
No, you get in too much trouble editing. Okay. So the camera is on, make a motion to seal the minutes for non-public until the matter is resolved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Eric seconds that motion by roll call vote to seal the minutes of the non-public session. Eric,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ken, and yes. Is there a motion to enter into public session?
Oh,
No, we're already in.
yeah.
Okay, we're already in public session. Thank you. Okay, so with no further ado, before we start the workshop portion of this meeting, is there any discussion of our work to this point? Okay. So we had talked about at the last meeting being constructive in our work to this point, and until this body speaks otherwise, I'd like to go through the two different lots. Just for the record, we're talking about lot 15 and lot 6, as we know. I would like to go through lot 6, the positive points from the committee, and then we'll go through what we believe are the negative points, and then we'll work into lot 15. Is there another suggestion?
Do you want me to write? Because your vote kind of...
Yeah, that works for me, Ryan. You got the gun on.
He gets what he wants, no matter what.
So you want to start with lot 6?
Yes, let's start with lot 6. And the discussion in lot 6 is the positive points that this committee sees with lot 6. If we'll start, we'll go around the table. We'll start with Eric, and we'll work towards Pat and around the table that way. Eric, is there any points with lot 6 that you...
We already own it. With the
Okay.
top one.
Pat?
I'll wait until after. I don't want to influence.
Okay, that's
this at all.
fine.
I'll just.
Okay. Jason, your thoughts?
We're just each going to do one for now.
Yeah, we'll just kind of
Yeah.
to initiate some discussion points.
Yep.
On the positive points.
It looked as if both the single story or the two-story would fit on that. Is that what I'm looking at?
No, 2-story only.
Only?
Yeah.
Then what?
That one's off.
What
That
is
one's
that?
off.
That one's off.
That doesn't work?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
cross that out.
Yeah, because I didn't get. Okay.
X that right out of it.
Okay. And why was that?
Because it doesn't fit.
Okay, it didn't fit. All right. So we're only 2-story,
Yeah.
Yep.
but he had some mention of like reduced heating and cooling costs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Efficiency of.
Yeah.
Right.
More efficient.
Long term.
That might be a typo.
Yeah, that's all right.
I can't come up with another one, to be honest, right now. I mean, I only have one. Your turn.
What do you think, Tom?
There'd be less site work involved. There's no ledge to deal with. So.
Ken?
Really can't think of anything positive that shows on that lot because of the size of it.
Okay. We'll go ahead and leave the positive cart open, if you will, in digital world. If you want to just make a line all the way across right there, and then we'll put the negative points underneath. And then as we go through this, for some reason you think of a positive point, go ahead and bark it out, and we'll have Ryan write it up there. For the record, I see no further positive points than what are already listed. The only one that I really popped right to the front of my mind was town-owned.
Well, I thought of it's a positive and a negative at the same time, because earlier in one of our first meetings we talked about even just talking about building safety. We're building a bricks and mortar building versus something else, just because of the world we live in and the police these days, where it's a secluded building, so someone going up there has to have a purpose, but at the same time, it's a secluded building.
Yeah, is that a tactical benefit or not?
Yeah, well, it's a plus and a minus. It's secluded, but do you want a police building secluded? I don't know. I don't know how to say it.
Probably not to get the votes for it.
Yeah.
No, but I just was throwing it out there. So
Actually, I did have someone that had mentioned that to me, and it was nothing that I thought of, was the fact that it's Lot 6 is further down that road, and if you had someone that was looking for the police station and maybe they pulled into the next road because they thought it was the next road, but it's not, or even if they did pull into Business Park Drive, they were bottlenecked down in there if they had an assailant or someone that was following them in a car. That would kind of push them further into a dead-end street. So that's more of a negative.
Yeah.
Farther down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, not visible.
Location.
Secluded.
lack of visibility.
Location.
Less prominent.
Yeah, that's been number one with me is
Yeah.
the whole less prominent.
But if that's what, I remember to your point of why things got shut off before.
Visibility.
Yeah, that was a lack of was a problem before.
Chuck, can you think of a negative point that you have that one?
To me, probably one of the biggest negatives, other than the location, is the lack of expansion. I think the one thing that we've discussed in different forms, we're looking at doing something for the town for now, what we need for now, but going forward, maybe not 5 years, maybe 10 years, 20 years, when things continue to expand, it's a possibility, but I think we'd be better off to have that room for expansion. Let's, get what we have to get now, but with the comfort zone of having room to expand. And that's
All right, so if we own Lot 6, who owns Lot 7 or 5?
Casey.
Okay, so there is room to expand, but not as much.
Not without purchasing a second lot.
Right.
Well, do we want to have that discussion now since you brought up the point? What's the cost of Lot 7? We own 6.
Yeah.
What's the cost of Lot 7?
And how big is Lot 7?
Or if it's a sea light on 7 or whatever, the adjacent.
The adjacent lot,
5.
The adjacent lot closer to 132.
Yeah.
1 point.
Yeah, you have the lot and map.
I can't tell if it's 1.2 or 1.3 or something.
Yeah, even I can't see digitized. So is that a question that we
So
should have answered?
you want what?
Who owns the adjacent
Lot
lot closer to 132?
7 or lot 5?
I think it's 5.
But we don't.
So that's a good point because that very well,
Maybe a very short path to go down, but we could say we went there.
it certainly doesn't address the prominence point. Tom, your thoughts?
Yeah. I think the parking is extremely limited for the public. Obviously, with the two-story building, you'd have the second floor would be actually ground level, and the mechanical part of it and the duty part of it would be below level. So they'd have to be driving down the slope to get into the sally ports and that area there. So I could be all wrong, but you can only build on so much percentage of the square foot of the total lot.
Impervious surface.
Impervious surface.
Yeah.
It is wet.
For runoff and
Yeah,
drainage.
for runoff and drainage. So, what is it? 0.45 acres, I believe, is the lot size.
Well, no, it's actually bigger than that, but I think that's the building.
The buildable because of the
Oh, that's the buildable.
because of the
Oh,
wetland
okay.
It's 1.4,
constraint.
is that right?
Yeah.
1.57
One,
is lot 5. Lot 6 is 1.4 acres.
1.4.
4.
And lot 5 is owned by Nickerson Business Park.
Yeah.
1.57 acres.
And the corner lots
3.4.
327.
327. I'm not going to tell the worth because I believe it's still in current.
Ken, your thoughts?
Got it in current use.
I know the
only
biggest
69
biggest
now.
issues are already up there, location and
Also total
size.
69
Those are big issues.
Yeah.
I was just
Oh,
thinking,
that's-
one other issue, is there sewer lines go up in that area? Sewer lines, do they expand up in that area, or do they
Yes, on one side they do.
Yeah.
do have sewer lines?
Up
Some,
to,
not
up,
all the way.
up to Business Park Drive on one side. But they have an agreement with the sewer if it goes up, if someone bills on the left side, which would be the police station, they've agreed to go up, further up along the left
And
side.
they have that as a written agreement, correct?
I believe that's what Peter has told me,
Okay.
so I can find that out.
Okay, yeah, we need to get, it'd be nice to see that in writing, however
Well,
that is,
you can find that out.
I think, yeah, we're meeting.
Come
tomorrow
on,
night.
you're the-
Yeah.
Can you bring that answer back to
Sewer
us,
lines
please?
on 132, up to J-Joe.
Mhm.
That's it.
No, it goes up Business Park Drive.
Does it?
Yeah, it goes up to Sea Light, 61 Business
Oh, it
Park
does.
Drive.
Okay, all right.
Water
I
and
didn't
sewer,
know
correct?
probably
Water
went-
and
went
sewer.
through the woods from
So you
there
just have
down
to tie into the line, that's,
Right, well, water goes up last
Yeah,
year.
I saw that.
But sewer went up a couple of years before that.
Oh, that's good, okay. So I think
you're
the
gonna
biggest
get this.
issues are on the board,
Yeah,
site location and area there is really limited.
Okay. Is there anything, and I have nothing further negative, I mean, we've all had enough discussion on it, I don't,
Now, which one, when
Did
I
you-
was listening to the video, which lot, I'm sorry, had the retaining wall concern? 6? Where we'd have to build up a retaining wall?
6.
6, okay. So that's a negative. That's expensive.
And limited to just two-story, I would think would be a good.
Yeah?
You also have an ingress, egress, you would have to share the ingress and egress
For traffic.
for traffic.
Yeah.
I think when the engineer was here the other night and we talked about the two-story and the operational concerns of it, was the fact that you would have, the Sally Port was on the lower level.
Lower level,
Yeah.
correct.
And you would have to bring prisoners from the second floor down, no?
When you bail someone out, you would have to escort them upstairs out the front on a two-story if it was lot 6.
Okay, so that there is movement from one level to the other.
Right.
I don't know if that's a negative or not, but,
It's always a negative when you have to move a prisoner.
Well, if you have to have an elevator to do it, that's expensive. I don't,
was that a discussion that we had, was an elevator? Is there an
Yes.
there is an elevator in there?
It depends
And there was a
on-
concern about having an elevator room, correct? A pit?
they have a pit.
Pit.
that was on lot 15, if there was
Well,
ledge.
there's a difference between an elevator and a hoist.
Right,
Okay, you don't need a pit for a hoist, but you need a pit for an elevator.
right. This would be, in this building would be considered the hoist,
Right.
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
And in an elevator, you have to have a 2-hour firewall on all sides. Usually on commercial construction, they don't use drywall, they use core board, which it looks like drywall, but it's actually this thick. And you have to overlap all the seams. You can't have 2 seams aligning.
Yep, okay. That
Okay.
makes sense.
And special mastic that goes on with it, stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's an elevator. They also have the elevators with all the lift is being done from above. So it's a motor and block and cable system rather than a piston system coming from the bottom. So there's two two ways of going at it that way. You can only go up so high with the cable system. Oh, you can, yeah, you can go up 30 floors. But, yeah. But,
Let's make it.
yeah. But anyways, there is a difference in the capacity and how it's built and how it's maintained and all that other stuff, because they really have to be inspected,
Yeah.
Right.
you know. on
There
a
was an
year-
issue with, didn't Gary talk about the elevator versus the lift?
Yeah.
And
Yes, he
it
did.
was problematic, could be
With
problematic
capacities.
With capacity.
With capacity, yeah.
Right.
Capacity.
In my opinion, to have a two-story building when we have the opportunity to have a one-story when we get to lot 15, that's, I just don't like the idea of a hoist or an elevator.
Oh, yeah, forcing the issue.
In a police facility.
One more thing to go wrong, right?
Does Laconia have elevator in that building?
I believe so, but all their prisoner and public entry.
It's mostly just offices on the second floor, right?
It's offices and locker areas on second floor. And then the first floor has the prisoner area, the front lobby, so they can go from the back of the building, front of the building without going in an elevator or up and down stairs.
You know, also have a conference room off to the right. As soon as you go right to the right.
Where is that sheet the engineer had on the pros and the cons? Yeah, I got it.
Yes, right here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they probably get-
Well, the square on it?
One of the positive points that the architect has written for Lot 6 is staff and Sallyport entries are well hidden from public view because of that lower level access.
But they entrance the same.
They enter the same public access in the ground level.
Well,
above.
see where it says on the side on your thing, it says staff exit only and public entry. So it's public entry on this. So this is coming in the exit only and then a public entry. So everybody goes in one way and then the staff only comes out one way on 1.01.
Okay.
That might be 15 now. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, that's 15.
The on 1-02A, it's staff entry only and then public entry only. You see how it comes in two different ones?
Yes. Yep. What is the parking capacity of that 102A? It looks like it's more.
Are you asking, what's the public capacity parking for?
No, not the staff. Oh, right there, 20. I see it. All I had to do was read it. 25 staff
25.
parking spaces,
Yep.
and then 9 public. Compared, I think there's more parking.
24,
Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24 on
and then 9 public.
the. Yeah, so it's pretty close. So that's not really a factor. All right, lot 6. Any other thoughts, positive or negative? Are we ready to move to lot 15? And is everyone okay with what we're doing and as far as the work session part of this?
Yep.
Okay. Good. Let's go. Go ahead, Ryan.
Wasn't one of the things when we were out there, one of the negatives is if we were to build on lot 6, it would take away from.
Right, that was one of the big things.
Yeah,
that
it
we
would
talked
interrupt the
about.
commercial
Taking away
industrial.
a potential
Yeah.
growth of a local business that established.
Okay. Yeah, that's certainly.
If see, they wanted to expand, now they can't.
And we're limiting them that possibility right there.
Well, also too, didn't they say that you would have to be taking out, likely to need to remove soil from the site due to building and parking lot layout grading. So you're actually removing a lot of the soil from that area instead of building on it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You actually have to
Yeah, it's
create a little bit more slope to get that walkout.
Yeah, he was talking about increased excavation cost.
And the other one you'd be, well,
Less.
15 you'd be
Adding.
adding
Some
a
soil.
corner of it you'd be adding.
And I think that should be one of the big things that we talk about, is the fact that we're trying to get new businesses, trying to expand local businesses. This is something that we decide to go this, we're almost defeating a different end of it as far as the local business. I mean, I think they chose Tilton for the reasons that they chose them. The last thing I think we want to do is give them a reason to not stay, not continue to grow.
Did we put under positive points for Lot 6, to go beyond what Chuck just said, is the fact that there is already special interest in the sale of the lot, which is a point. That there is an interest.
That would be,
Is that a negative?
that would be a negative of using the lot, because we have, and
Well, it'd be a negative on you if we want to use the lot, but it's a positive if we're trying to liquidate the lot.
right.
I guess you can put it in the middle if you want. It's the fact that it does have some, there is interest.
I mean, because that really
Resale potential.
Commercial interest?
Well, I could
Well, to
almost
offset.
make that a positive for 15 to say, hey,
Yeah, that's fine.
we can get out of 6.
Yeah, we can put it on
It's easy to-
15,
yeah.
that's fine, that's fine. I don't have a problem. But obviously, we need to mention
It's
that.
not like throwing it on the market and having it sit out there
Sitting
like the
on
rest
the-
of those lots have for many, many years.
A lot of years.
Okay, let's move on to lots 15. We'll do the same format with lot 15. We'll start with negative points.
Positive?
Did we start with positive
Yeah.
points?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Visibility.
Yeah, go ahead and spit them out, guys, as we go around, that's fine. Prominence. It has an extremely prominent view when you're looking from the building and when you're looking from the street at the building.
Dual road access. Dual frontage.
No,
Too dangerous.
what do you mean?
Somebody's in an emergency situation, comes in from Sanborn Road, tries to make, which turn did they make? Business Park Drive or their own separate entrance on Sanborn Road? It's confusing.
So if the police staff entered and exited on Sanborn Road only, staff only,
Yeah.
That could be pretty clearly indicated with
I-
fencing and signage and...
I have spoken to the chief previously, not recently,
Right.
about putting an emergency light up there.
yeah,
Okay, in case they have to go out in mass, they can put a red light there to stop the traffic on
Yeah.
Sanborn. This is a state road, Sanborn Road, am I correct?
right.
Yep.
Okay. And, in inclement weather, people can get confused about where the drive is. You put a sign out there that says police station with an arrow. There's not a police station arrow here and another police station with an arrow here. It's kind of crazy.
If we don't put a police station with an arrow there and just say staff only, then we know
I think the
Police-
staff would know where to
the,
drive.
the
Yeah,
staff is
right.
going to know where they're driving.
The public signage.
Just an arrow.
Laconia has that. The reason I say this, I was there, we were getting fingerprinted for the PD, but they have an employee-only entrance
Yeah.
on one end, and they have the main entrance, and it's pretty well marked out, like,
But is the employee entrance prominent? Or is it in Is it by,
You have to go by that to get to the other one.
okay.
I mean, I'm not saying a positive or negative, but I'm just saying, when we go down Fair Street, I was there Saturday, so I was kind of looking at different things, but we went down, and the first entrance, if you want to say, is right there, and it says staff only. It's marked, it has a sign, not that because it isn't because the officers aren't, I don't know if that's a positive or
But
negative.
that doesn't look like the entrance to the police station, because it looks like you're entering the back of the building.
Right, but
But if you go around around the corner, I know
it
that I'm going to the
definitely-
police station.
I think signage would be a very.
and it's not for it's for the pedestrians to know that.
You would really have to put the signage, to put a light up there, Tom, it's $100,000 to $150,000.
That's a grant, that's grant.
Not necessarily.
Well, it's state control.
We tried to get a grant up here for the stuff by Riverfront Park for people. We couldn't do it. We just could not do it. They wanted $110,000.
Keep swinging.
Tom, if I may, I just want to make sure I'm following you as far as the danger part of it. So if there were an entrance off of Sanborn Road that was the public entrance,
Yeah,
that just says police department public entrance,
yeah,
off of Sanborn Road,
yeah,
and then if there's an entrance off of Business Park Drive that is for staff only.
yeah.
If it says like "do not enter, staff only" or whatever it may be, and staff
We have to
drive their private
swipe
vehicles
the
in there
card.
and the cruisers,
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about? Could be dangerous, or are you talking about them being together?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about, yes, I am talking about them being together. This is difficult.
What do you think? Do you think they should be one driveway, or do you think?
I think there should be one driveway, and then as you go in and you're going to the public parking, and there's a sign that says, right there, says staff only beyond this point. I'm saying I know I'm in Sanborn Road a lot, and I see a lot of traffic there, and I see an entrance from Sanborn Road could be potential safety issue.
But if it were Lot 16, the public entrance would be Business Park Drive.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the back, if I'm reading it right, the public entrance on, if you're looking at the 1.01A, you're looking at the public entrance being on Business Park Drive, and then you're looking at the staff as being Sanborn Road.
Oh, okay. My concept was exactly the opposite of that.
Well, and my concern is, I'm not sure. I understood what I thought you were saying at first. My thought would be is if there's going to be an entrance off 132, if it's going to be off that, I was thinking that would be the public one, because that's the first, going up the road, they're going to see that. So I don't know but that's not what it says. You've got it backward, right? The public would be off Business Park Drive.
Well, the other one that Gary drew up was 1.01, where it comes off of Business Park Drive.
Dual.
And it's dual. You have the public entry. Everybody goes in one, and then the staff goes out back, and the public goes here, which is what Tom's talking about, which is the cover. So the public would be taking the left. Now you have signage there that say employee parking only, period. Now that's where all the cruisers are, and that's where all the officers' personal vehicles are.
Guys.
So, and exiting only would be staff, so public would be coming out of the public, in and out.
So coming off from 132, if there was an entrance there, that would only be for personnel?
That's correct. There's two scenarios. One is staff only, off of 132, and then public only off of Business Park Drive. That would be scenario 1. And then the scenario 2 would be both on Business Park Drive, and then the public would take a left and the staff would go straight in the back.
Kevin, didn't you go like a S?
I did, and I wish what happened,
It's just two entrances.
was that at our first meeting?
That's so.
Yep.
That's one. for the
Gary has it.
Business Park Drive,
Right.
that's 132.
Unfortunately,
This is
because I showed him
single
the
entrance,
alternate.
and you've got a second here, same staff, only here, public over here.
I had asked the question at our first meeting of, in my opinion, was 2 separate entrances, the public entrance off 132 and the
So
staff
the opposite
entrance.
of
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
The
it
opposite
was.
of that, because
Right.
in my mind, for the prominence point, is that the public would enter off of 132. Because they just drive up 132 and boom, there they are.
That's
they
what I
drive
was
into the police
thinking we were
station.
actually talking about. I don't want to say I don't agree with the other way around, but just for the same thing, we're going for visibility, we're going for ease.
It can be done either way.
Yeah.
And when Kevin brought up, he wanted to come down with the public. He wanted to come right down to 132 and have it access there. Gary said that wouldn't been an issue either.
And I think he was going to draw that.
Right, he was
As
going
long
to
as he
draw it
can-
in and send it to
As long
us.
as we can tap dance with the culvert and the buried cable,
Right.
right?
So
That's all.
So
that issue, there's going to be a versatility there, which would end up being a positive for
So,
that lot.
yeah, I was generically speaking, anytime you have more ways to access a piece of property, that's a plus. Yeah.
There's only Business Park Drive off Lot 6. This, whatever we decide or whoever decides, there is multiple options. It's not.
Yeah, I guess that's the positive point, is we have 2 options.
Yeah, so, okay, it's January and all of a sudden 132's plowed and Business Park Drive isn't.
Okay.
And they've got to get cruisers in and out with a problem or,
Right.
or a bad guy or multiple or.
So Tom, do you mind just restating what your opinion is on the entrances? So I just want to make sure I
He was
follow.
worried about high traffic or speed on,
I was concerned about, let's put it this way, on scheme S101A of having the public entrance in Sanborn Road. And I was confused because on this scheme, the public entrance is in Business Park Drive.
Okay,
I had it backwards,
okay.
okay? And I apologize to the committee about this, that I didn't look at this before I opened my mouth. But it doesn't seem to me to be an issue, one or the other. I just thought it would be a little bit safer if the public had the entrance on Business Park Drive.
Okay, that's the part I was trying to understand, what the safer part is.
is there a sight distance concern? I mean, I know the road goes up.
I think, when we went there, looking to the right, and if you put an entrance up, I don't know how many ever, if it's 100 feet up from there, it seemed like coming down from Samberton, say from Lancaster Hill Road, to me, it felt like there was less visibility if you had that second entrance. And I don't know if the state would hold us to was it 400 feet that you need?
It just happens to be pretty open because of all the clearing with the power line work and stuff, so
Yeah,
it's as clear as it's ever gonna be right now.
One of the questions I have pertaining to the entrances, is the state going to require any additional lanes or
Or turning lane or something.
turning lane or anything? I mean, I don't know, but I don't want to kind of decide to go this route or not go this route to find out that.
Well, and can we get 2 driveway permits?
Right.
One's going to be a town permit off Business Park Drive, and then the other would be a state permit.
They tend to like those types of things for
But if we
ingress
don't
and egress. It tends to be more favorable since you're not constrained into one.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any.
But if you had on scheme S 1.01, you're on Business Park Drive, so you don't have to worry about a state driveway permit on 132.
Right, you don't have to,
The driveway permit is already existing for Business Park Drive.
And if they thought the traffic flow into an industrial park was going to be substantial, they would have asked for a turning lane then.
that's true, because obviously there's potentially 15 different sites.
We can ask Bill Rollins.
It's just,
Do you think that, I'm wondering if I'm too hung up on the fact of, first of all, two entrances. If, at first, I was hung up on the fact of they need two
Separation, right?
Yeah, that there was separation. Because if you look at S101, in my mind, they had staff and public in one driveway. I mean, if that's our only option, that's our only option. But if we had an option to have two separate entrances, then
you know,
why would we
I
not?
think Tom's point is something to weigh in on it, you know, because to me, when I first thought of the two entrances, I thought the public, like you, for me, I was thinking the public coming off the main road because it would limit their, where is the entrance, you know what I mean? I guess my feelings, it's either got to be two separate, like, and I was thinking, for simplicity wise, for the general public coming in and off Sanborn Road, because it's right there. They don't have to know what entrance, they don't have to go up Business Park to figure out where it is. It's easy for them. The traffic speed and concern, you know what I mean? Like you brought up, if that was the case, that's something to be talked about too.
Well, I think through this discussion, I think I'm favoring to Tom's opinion on the driveway being off of Business Park Drive.
No, and that's why I was
Yeah.
like you. That's why I thought what you thought initially, but I think if being said, you know, the speed, because it is a pretty high volume, high speed potential area, I think what you said really makes sense.
Well, now,
There,
having a second option, that second entrance off of 132, I'm going to do a brake check when I get to Industrial Park Drive. Because, all right, is this the entrance? So I do a brake check, and now I've got traffic coming up behind me.
right.
And I'm kind of creeping up, trying to figure out where I want to pull in. Is that the entrance, or is this one?
Well, that's why I was thinking.
Do it from both directions.
Coming down
Yeah.
is harder to say.
But you got to remember, it isn't a building of itself. There's going to be signs out there. And if there isn't a sign 18 inches high that says, you know, police department with an arrow, you know,
No, I think I'm with you, Tom.
Okay.
I wasn't
I
at
think you
first.
swayed right. That's
I
why
think he's right.
I was thinking.
But there also, there might be something in the middle too, where the building can be set a certain way with the dual front entrance for now. But what if 20 years from now we decide, boy, we gotta bring things in. Maybe there's something changes tactically.
leave
or
that open type
yeah,
thing
that
for
hey,
that.
we need to bring them through the back. To have that option where we can situate the building, run it one way for now, but if we ever had to change it, we know we could.
Well, I'll draw on here, and then I'll bring it around.
If it's anything.
This could be an option for the future. This isn't the scale or anything.
I would like to think it would like slow people down on that road.
You would think.
So I think this is what I had drawn for the architect was, in my opinion, have the public entrance come in here, block this off, and have this be the staff entrance to here. But down the road, to your point, Jason, this could be later on, because remember he said he could fit it. Actually, I got to scoot it over to here because he said he could fit it in between.
Part of the thing is too, initially, with a second entrance, we're adding cost. I mean, I'm not saying it's, you
It's
know,
another curb cut.
it's another curb cut, it's another cost.
Or Kevin, if we run with this, if this is all shifted up a little bit, and then later on, we can just, decide, oh, we might need to come in here later. So this is cheaper to build, for now. But hey, what if the rules change and there has to be separation?
Right.
You can do that.
Is a state curb cut going to be more expensive than it would be off of? It just would be the same. there's not steeper requirements on the, coming in through the ditch and the approach off 132.
The Industrial Park Road is really large road
It is a big
to go into. You know, and the exit from the police department isn't gonna be that big.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So, all your businesses on that industrial park is off that road. So, it makes sense, like you said, to have the public enter that road because it's huge, it's really wide. It's gonna be a 50-foot wide road there, just pavement alone.
60.
60? Just the pavement alone. Because the exit from the police department isn't gonna be probably more than 40.
No, I think that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I would agree.
And my first thought
Turning
was
in there shouldn't be nothing. It's wide open.
With signage.
Right.
and the thing is too, the option is in the future, if we go with this, we set aside that option. There's no expenses to that, there's no anything right now. Part of, I think, one of the things going forward to whatever we decide, we have to think about here and now. Down the road, we may have to, requirements change, rules, regulations, but we also have to look at what we can do to save as much money, to make it the least cost effective, to get it to pass. I mean, not just by the taxpayers, but any one of us. You know, we have to look at the bottom line, and it doesn't sound like much, but a driveway is going to be another 10 grand or 20 grand just on top of everything. So if we can utilize Business Park Drive like it was discussed, that's what everybody's using on it. But the positive is future growth, we have that option of having that other.
Or if there's some, I mean, what's the Homeland Security take? Is it good to have another exit for emergency purposes? What else?
Right. If it's not a requirement and not a necessity right now.
Well,
Even if we just do
I guess
culvert?
I'd direct that question to Ryan. We had it on the first meeting, had the discussion, and the chief was here, about a second entrance. What is the police department's feeling on 2 entrances versus 1?
I prefer a second entrance. And if you think back this past 2 years, when in Pennsylvania a sniper sat up across from the troop station and was picking off troopers, if our only way out is that one way, that is he just has to sit across the street.
You just go
Shoot us
put
and
an X
out.
right there. Go.
Right. I mean, that one exit's covered, and then
But you're still
can't get out.
limited though in this design because the driveways aren't connected. Well,
Well, there's separate parking, separate driveways.
but if you're just saying
If
you
you
have
have a second driveway that you can get out onto 132, I could drive across the grass.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Just get a culvert and some bank gravel.
With the
And it's,
culvert.
I can't go across.
That could be a problem.
I can't do it has.
But I mean, could they just put a driveway out here?
Faster.
well, that's that. That's
You
the
can
other
exit
drawing.
to the power line too, off-road.
This is that line you showed that.
Well, you have 4x4s on you.
132.
They're all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive, crossover SUVs,
Limited.
four-cylinder
Supposed to-
engines
supposed to-
with no power brakes or steering.
V6s.
Just kidding. Manual windows.
It's supposed to cross over.
2 of those and 12 guys trying to get in.
Yeah. Can you imagine me getting in one of them? Oh my
Yes.
God,
Yep, I would agree.
terrible.
So I guess back to positive.
Going
It'd
positive.
be cheaper to come up this way.
There's certainly more options here than the other lot, so that we can.
Yeah,
leave it as
positives is potential multiple entries.
Yeah, flexibility in building site, please.
Yeah, based on the
Yeah,
discussion that we just had for the
lot
last 25
size.
minutes.
Lot size.
Really?
Yeah, at least it wasn't non-public.
You got a lot more going for you right there already.
Right.
This is where the minutes
And I don't know if
transcribed to
this
say,
goes with that.
much discussion ensued.
I don't know if it goes with that, but expandability, you know, room for expansion.
Well, where would you get a second driveway down at the other lot?
You're not one good. You're pretty jammed up.
That's why, to me, a positive is the fact that we someday could. If for whatever reason things change in Lot 6, that could be a negative, one driveway. I mean, that, if you're going back to there and trying to,
Always put it.
you know what I mean? So,
Yep. Tom, thank you for
If
that.
anybody talks 20 years, you're talking my lifetime.
10 with me.
look around, it'd be close.
I'm older than you.
Oh, no, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
We talked
We'll
about
have
this
an
very
argument over
briefly. Tom's going to live forever.
I drink a lot of apple cider. What do you drink?
Coffee.
I'm
Oh, my
seven.
All right, so let's head to the negative points, and if there's any positives that
Oh, yeah.
pop up, we'll...
Less excavation here,
Less excavation than the other
because we're
lot.
going to build up, right? Just level it off.
Okay. That law will take a 2-story building, no problem.
Yeah, but we're in the negative now?
Yep.
Less efficient.
I think ledge is really the,
Is less efficient if it's the single story?
Yeah, efficiency.
Over time, less efficient over time. Yep.
I don't know if really the ledge is a negative
If we're never going to get to it.
right.
And it's over on slab.
Yeah, slab on grade. We don't own the building. I mean, we don't own the lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
Mm.
And other committees, when we were looking at land, 3 to 8 times the cost of what this is going to cost. Other land, other properties that we considered, and some of them we brought to town meeting.
That may be a positive.
What a positive point would be that because of its location, it's less expensive than other lots in commercially zoned areas.
Because we've had,
Yeah, right, one of the pieces of property that we looked at, that right next to J. Jill, we had a purchase and sale agreement with them. We sent it to them, we signed it, sent it to them, they hemmed and hawed over it, hemmed and hawed. It was almost $750,000, remember? $750,000. Then they decided, they backed out. They backed out. $750,000 right next to Walgreens in between J. Jill's, that J. Jill owned it.
Oh, with the Tilton Sand Garage.
The venture capital thing, yeah.
They weren't using
That's
it.
an help for this bridge project.
Mhm.
I like the people say, oh, you can have this for,
The stock just took a hit, leave it alone.
Well, even the Mayer property and the Rogers property, the combination of the two was just a hair over 400,000.
Is it because of location and it's not on Route 3?
In their asking price. Plus, you had a lot of demo work to do.
well, the positive end of this was
What's there?
the
The mayor's
flexibility of
Right.
the other
Not a
law,
bad buy.
cost against
You have to
this,
take the building down.
you know,
Yeah.
lot costs
And
was a
Rogers had
positive.
that, both
Yeah.
lots.
Or we could take the other lot and deduct it from this lot.
Oh, once we sell
That
it.
would have been a positive issue.
Yeah, and we said we were going to add that as a positive.
Right.
Is the fact that we have the ability to purchase this.
A land cost, probably, list land cost, something like that, lot cost. And that brings it way down.
right, it puts it in a whole different
Lot
perspective.
Right, sale of the town-owned property would decrease.
Plus, like you said earlier, you'll
$50
find
for
out
that.
what you can get for it, so.
And I think,
That's
you
a
know,
big
like we
plus
talked
right
about
there,
earlier,
too.
That all plays a big role as far as what that lot is actually sold for. You know what I mean? And if it's the values are both there,
I think it's a huge pinnacle in their decision.
it
I really
is.
do.
It is.
Any other negative points with lot 15?
Some wetlands, right? It was talked about in the engineer's notes.
I was waiting on the corner of it though.
Yeah, they both have some wetlands.
Yeah, it says contains some wetland.
What about that underground cable? Would that have, if we put an entrance there, would that contribute to the cost of moving utilities?
No, because
Because there's some buried utilities in the front of that lot.
Has to move.
In the front of that lot somewhere, by that telephone pole.
We would
If we
never-
go past the telephone pole.
Right, we would-
Oh, is that the easement right
that's it
there?
right there.
Okay.
That's why you have a small window of where that driveway could go.
Go ahead. And never
This is
mind.
probably the best, from what you've been talking about land cost, this is the best option.
Even at the value that he's stating, if it ends
Yeah.
up being there, compared to what's available, and that, it's not just the cost, it's the availability. It's not like, well, we could go buy this for the same.
They're not making
You don't-
any more
You
land.
don't have that, I mean, right now, whether it be right now or not, these are our options.
Yeah, it gets worse as time goes on.
I mean, like you say, you've gone through 7 other lots prior to this.
Oh, more than that.
No, I know, but that you brought to town.
And based on, I think this is a positive point, based on community concerns from previous committees, the fact that this lot 15 is not further down Business Park Drive. That was a lot of the concern we
That's
got
a
in from the
major.
community, was that it was too far down. If it was closer to 132, it might be more.
You can actually see it from 132, from Route 3.
Right, we took a picture last week from standing up there, and you can actually see the intersection
Mm-hmm.
from standing there,
The corner line.
and not even being in the building, but you could see straight line
Right.
view right down 132. And when you're coming up 132, you can,
Yeah,
that, top of that little
No.
knoll is visible all the way from, from Walgreens, you can see it.
I think both lots, the benefit is that Business Park Drive itself is almost in the dead center of Tilton. If you look at a Tilton map.
So location.
Yeah, if you were to put a push pin in, it's like, you can't be more.
Ubiquitous and halfway
Yeah,
between the
'cause,
Franklin line
you know,
and the bridge.
The East Tilton folks that always say, everything's on the wrong side of the highway, I think this is pretty central.
You see the police department up in North Conway, you'll see it out on 113, it's a lot further away than that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, out of town.
Yes, they put them, they put them on the outskirts.
Saw it about 2 weeks ago.
Part of that is too, probably what we're talking about.
They can't
because
get-
of the cost.
They can't buy.
You know, they can afford this lot, location, or it's for sale. There's a lot of lots, I think, that probably would be maybe better for the general public, but they're not for sale, so they're not
Exactly.
available.
Exactly.
You know, so, yeah, is there a better location? Possibly. Is there a better location available? I don't think so.
Should we
Yeah.
now go to a generic page of Business Park Drive, positive and negative? Is there any need to do that?
No,
No, I think we're pretty
no,
much.
because we only have 2 sites to deal with.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
both on the same street.
We've been given a charge to pick one.
That's what we've been given a charge to do.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But both of them have the underlying shared positive of water, sewer, location, centrality.
Would the water be easier to get to lot 15?
It's already there.
Yeah.
Water's at both.
I thought,
Well, the
Pressure.
lot 15, you would have to cross underneath Business Park Drive, I believe, where lot 6, it's on that same side of the road.
exactly.
So that curb stop is, would have to go all the way on the other side of the street, which I don't know if is really that big. Is that big of a deal, Tom?
Well, there's 2 ways of doing it. One is a trench, 1 bucket wide, below the frost line. The other one is to drill laterally,
Directional development.
directional drilling.
There's a stub right on the property.
On lot 15?
Yeah.
Did they do that when they?
They already ran it across the
Oh,
street?
if there's a
He
stub
did
there,
it
then
to-
it's
He did
done.
it to all the pieces of property.
Oh, he
Which
did.
makes sense.
And we did it to lot 6. We paid to have a stub put in on lot 6 when
So it's
they
already
brought
there.
the water.
So
down.
that's really a wash, you know, it's
No,
not
there's
a
no-
negative or a positive.
Lateral
It's
drilling.
either lot.
So either lot.
I'll
I-
double check it, but I'm 99% sure that all the lots on that side of the road all have stubs on them. Every one of them.
Now, are the stubs only on one side?
Oh,
Oh.
Because there's no sun, they must have
It doesn't
drilled
go
underneath then, because
doesn't
there's
go
no
underneath
trench
and
lines.
then- Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I had asked the question last week when we were at Business Park Drive for our walk around, as far as when do we need, should we be asking the question, mechanically, is there enough pressure? Volume is not a question for water, but pressure, do we have enough to feed the fire suppression system
Mhm.
in that building. Is that a yes, we do, or yes,
Yes,
we should ask?
yes, we should ask, but yes, we do.
That's a positive.
It's a positive. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get the information from John.
Okay.
Yeah, think of all the places where you
Can
have
you
to
get-
make that
can you
happen.
ask for John that
If it
question
didn't
back?
exist, then what that would cost.
It's almost a game changer if it didn't have the
Yeah.
amount of pressure.
What is that,
There's
10-inch
a lot.
line up in there?
I don't know.
Pretty good sized pipe.
It is a pretty good
It's-
size.
I think
pipe.
it's 10 inch. It's
Yeah,
up
you'd
there.
think it would be for industrial volume.
10-inch.
If you had processes that
And
require
now
water.
Sea Light must have a sprinkler system in there, or no?
That I don't know. Brian
I
says
believe
yes.
they do. I believe
Because
do.
if they do, then it pretty much answers that question.
Mhm. Well, Nickerson's in the back has it too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and
Theirs was fed from the pond, from the cistern pond.
Not anymore.
But it was originally, so
Right.
that was plumbed for sprinkler system.
it's a good question to.
Well, Eversource, what do they have for, do they have it?
They had a fire.
In the garage.
They gotta have a coffee
And
pot.
it
Oh,
took
but
out
I
a
think
lot.
they have water
But they
now.
don't have a sprinkler. They do not have a
They
sprinkler
don't have
system.
sprinklers, but I believe they have water now.
You gotta remember
Do they have
now,
a dry system?
public service, your lights will always be
They
on
have
because
none.
they gotta have the coffee
Fire.
pot running.
Extremely large loss.
A lot of vehicles, a lot of.
Really?
So, what are the thoughts on, now that we've gone through positive and negative points of lot 15 and 6, are we ready to make a recommendation from this committee contingent upon value?
Yeah, I think I am.
Well, just look at the two charts, I mean, all the positives on that one, and then you look at the positive on the other one, and it's really, it's quite a difference looking at it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
certainly opposite.
almost talks for itself.
Now, can I ask? I mean, part of our duty here is what's required of us as a committee. Are we only here to pick the site? Is that what this? Okay.
No, we'll pick the
It's
site.
only the beginning.
Only
And I
the-
understand that. I just want to.
I thought the same thing, Chuck,
So I just want to clarify, if not for me, for
The
anybody else.
first charge is to pick the site.
Okay.
The second charge
I'm
is
out.
we go over these with the architect and make sure that they're okay with, Ryan has looked at them already, and with the chief, I've gone over them, we've tweaked them. And then,
But our first order of business is
now,
to pick a
first
site.
order is that, and then he needs to send it to the engineer, which
He
takes
is in.
the architect.
Okay.
So we
Which
have
would
to
be about
decide.
3-week leeway, right?
And
You
this
said
is what
3
we
week
paid. We decided on
at last town meeting.
town meeting is
We have to have 2 public hearings in order to do that.
Do we decide on the materials used, 1-story, 2-story, stuff like that?
So my thought is if we could conclude tonight on choosing a lot and send Pat back to the Board of Selectmen with,
well. We can say our recommendation based on
Yep.
assess the value of both
it was
lots.
contingent upon that.
Right.
Yep.
You specified that.
so that would be somewhat done. The ball's in the court of the Selectmen.
Our outlook is focusing on
Right.
lot 50.
Right, and I think we can, once we choose a lot as a committee, we can then get started on
The next phase.
the next charge of the layout of the building.
$10,000 a piece, get it going.
Then you want both lots done, though.
Yeah.
I think for public knowledge, I
Mhm.
think it's in
And
our best
and
interest.
saleability, too.
Well, I mean, right, because if it's, and again, if it comes back at 130, and there, we decide, or whoever decides that if it's going to be offered to them at 160, or 150, or 130, whatever, at least at that point in time, we know what it's appraised at. It doesn't mean what it's valued at, obviously, because of interest and whatnot, but these are, it's going to be public knowledge that it was appraised at 130 and we got 130 or we got 150 or whatever it is. People are gonna need to know that we're doing our job.
Yep.
You know, and I think
Eric,
that.
You had a question?
I was looking at the police study website over the weekend and looking at the plan that was drawn up of what the building would potentially look like on the inside. And inside one somewhere, and I couldn't find it again, but it was a chart. And it said that the chief's office was going to be, just say, 250 square feet based on the recommended need or what that. Do we know if that design back here references that, or is that based on current? The only reason why I ask that is because I can know, someone in town's got that report somewhere and is going to pull that out and say, well, back here in 2009, and I don't know if that's the right year, that you said they only needed 250 feet for the chief's office. Now you want 300 feet. Why do we need 50 extra feet? So what standards have changed or may have not changed that we need that? And I'm just playing devil's advocate because I know that that's going to happen, and we have to sell this. And
Where did you see that?
I'll find it again and I'll send it to you.
That'd be interesting.
Was that for the life safety proposal building, or was that?
It was, but this is just strictly the police part.
Okay.
This was strictly the police part. It was a whole list of stuff. It had square footage needed.
I would say it was limited by the amount of funds available.
So there's no requirement, no.
No.
Well, there's got to be. It's kind of like we're talking about the school budget. They have these charts that across the board, across the state, these are expectations of what these should be.
I will find it and I will download it and I will attach it to an email.
Just like they did the fire department.
It had something to do with the whole life safety, but I think this was before we got to life safety. This is back when they did a police building study, 2006 maybe. Yeah.
Well, I think that once we get into the discussion of layout of the building, my guess is a lot of those questions.
Well,
And that's good stuff to draw on.
But
if somebody's gonna stand there
I've
and
also
go,
gone. I also did a lot of research. I've had 4 days off. And I went and I did a lot of research. I did searches all over New England of towns that are building police departments. And, there was a recurring theme. And, I mean, one of them, all I have to do is put our pictures in, and I had a beautiful PowerPoint presentation, but it's everything that we're talking about. Inadequate space, unsafe sally port, unsafe jail, not mixing the juveniles and the different, males and females. And I was like, oh, geez, this is.
We're not inventing this process.
No, but it was like, I was like, all I had to do is go take a couple of pictures of our police department, and we have a PowerPoint presentation. I mean, we're going to have that at some point.
Yes.
It's a necessity.
It'd be nice to have the ammunition.
Yeah.
I don't know remember what the design was for the 61 Business Park, because I think they kind of designed it to fit the space.
Right.
Versus building.
But it was a chart. And I looked at a lot of stuff. But it was. I know I was looking at Tilton, and I'll go back and
Was that a shared building with a fire department?
No, this was. I believe this was just when it was a police department study before they merged to become a life safety. I will find it. I will email it to Kevin.
The positive of both sites is it's just a police department. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you looked at either site, it's just the police department.
And we talked about that at the last meeting,
Right.
that there's been a lot of hurdles to try to jump with trying to build a life safety complex, and there were things that had bogged down the process. And I think that's a huge positive point that we're taking from the voice of the people, is if it were just the police department, then we can roll up our sleeves and talk. And then here we are.
Because we're talking about our town, our police department.
Yep.
Even if we just had our own town fire department, those are two very different things to try to overlay and make
requirements and needs.
In my working days, I used to travel all through southern New Hampshire. And down into Auburn, going down into Raymond, down to the seacoast and back up again. And in those days, it wasn't that long ago, 5 or 6 years ago, every town down there was building a new police department. Everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone had a fire department. And we're back to back.
In the same building?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you build one building.
I think the theory is great.
And right next to that, in a lot of cases, the town of Danbury comes into my mind. Right next to it's the town office. People go to the police station, they want to do something, or they want to go and get a burn permit at the fire station, and walk across the street, they can go into the town hall, register, get their dog tag, pay their taxes. You don't have to go here, or there, or there, or there. And these are towns that, with the population a lot smaller than Tilton, and the buildings were built, I don't know how much federal money they got. These towns were built for the future. They were there, boom. They had, fire department had tall overhead doors. You know, I think they were probably at least 14s. They could have been 16 footers. But
Gilmanton did one a few years ago.
well, there's another, Auburn's another one that's looked that way, but basically the one that pops into my head is Danbury. And of course, Danbury has that,
Danbury or Danville?
Danbury.
Over near Alexandria, Bristol.
No, it's down this way. Down this.
Danbury's up here by Bristol.
Oh,
Newfoundland.
yeah, it must be Danville. It's the one that has the tire
Yeah,
farm. Danville.
Yep.
Has a tire fire that reignites every once in a while. So they're always in and out of that place. They're always in and out of there. And, you know,
That'd be
the
nice.
towns that have the bigger population seem the ones that can afford it the least. It makes no sense to me a lot.
You're right, and I think the big drawback on that is these towns who have a local police department and fire department are a town. I think what happens in a situation like we're in, where we have two towns
Yeah.
vying for the same thing in each town. So we're not, I think if it was a Tilton Fire Department,
Oh, yeah.
Tilton Police Department, I think that would be expected. But in Northfield's defense, they want it in their town. They want it close to them. In Tilton, we want it in ours.
These are not fire districts, you know what I mean, as we use it. I mean, it's impractical from this point of view.
Or you get to a point where the town becomes a city, or the city's big enough, you have one PD and 3 fire departments, because that's how you have to do business.
Right.
And then
Well,
the next level after
there's
that
a-
is precincts of multiple
Well,
PDs.
there is a federal called the Safe Streets Act.
Yeah.
And you have to have, a response time has to be within certain levels. You can't wait 2 hours. Well, you can in rural.
Did New Hampton just build a place like that? They got the fire department, police department all in the same building?
Who, New Hampton?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
And these smaller towns, because
There you
they're probably volunteer fire departments.
But they don't have another town that can say no to our
Right,
police
that's
department.
the point. That's
Like Northfield?
Northfield can say no to us, and now we're
Right.
back to square one.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of doing it that vein, but I'm just saying, when these smaller towns
I see what you mean.
had put them together because of just the proximity of them. It had nothing to do
Or
with,
they
not district.
locate it based on the fire department's response time
Exactly.
to accomplish that, because the PD goes out on patrol and is more flexible, and they all dispatch from cars and their businesses out on the
Yeah,
road.
you know,
and availability too, if they got
Right.
the property.
And that's what the New Hampton is, they just built behind.
that Danville
makes
place, the chief, they used to work out of his house. And so, this is really small towns, but I'm just showing you. And I went into Stratford, and these buildings are 6 inches on center. You're going through the center of town, where the old mill is there by the river, and there's no way that you can do that. And it's a big. The fire station is up in the back, up in a little high place, and just going through that, and where was it? Exeter. If you know where the police station is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fire station is down this little dark road going in there, and they have auxiliary fire stations in town.
Yeah.
But that's a fairly wealthy town, and they can afford to do stuff like that. But I think that, you know, as far as a police station only, I think that's going to be a tremendous asset that we can move forward in. And
That's certainly a positive point.
Yeah.
That's what we've stumbled on in the past.
Yeah.
We have to afford it at this point.
When was the last time that just the police department was brought before the voters? Was that when they put the police station over here?
Main property,
No,
2007,
6, 7?
Right, because 2000 and...
lost by one vote.
oh, I thought that was a life
So
safety.
that was a
building.
life safety building,
Be
right?
nice to do it, you said.
For the
That's
mayor
what-
property?
No, that was for Business Park Drive, right? Is that what you're talking?
I'm talking about
No.
just the police department. There was.
Nope, the mayor property.
Oh, the mayor property, okay.
It wasn't a life safety.
Okay.
It was just for the one building.
You know, I would be interested in kind of
We'll
trying
have
to do some research to
that
find
one up
out.
on 132 by the power lines that they got stuck in. We're looking at that too. Didn't that come before the body?
What was the consensus that you found for people who didn't vote for mayors? You remember? I mean, I don't really remember on that vote why it was. I mean, there has to be, obviously we lost by one vote,
The
but
traffic in and out.
I'm just saying if we can find the negatives to that, we may be able to turn that to positives to
They
this
didn't.
location.
Can we have Joyce pull the minutes from that, just so we can review it?
Right, we got to look at why.
We don't want to fall into that trap.
Why people voted against that, so we got to look at those angles.
I think that I would like to review that. I think you have a very good point, is to have Joyce send that out just to see what those points were.
Make sure we've answered those objectives.
Right.
Well, let's answer those.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
we got to look
right.
at the big
It's a
picture,
vicious
not just
cycle.
there, Business Park Drive, or that location, whether it be different reasons, but if
So we've
we,
had a police building, potential police building lose 2 times by one vote each time.
Or just one.
Just one by one vote.
I thought that was
Others
a life
lost.
safety. I thought it was life safety.
no, that was a different location, I think.
No, it wasn't, because it was one I was on with Vince Condroitis,
Because we actually voted for
Ben
it
LaBelle.
on Business Park Drive. We bought the property, it
Bought
was
the
voted
property.
and bought the property, and then,
I thought that was life safety. That's where it lost by one vote.
no, we actually bought it. We got approved,
Yeah.
and we bought it, or the town bought it, and then people changed their
Yeah.
views for whatever reason, and
The next year it fell through.
right.
In the respect of time, we're at the 2-hour mark. Are we ready to make a decision tonight to go back to the selectmen based on the work that we've done tonight?
But I want to add one positive thing for whether it be 15 or not. The fact that police station going in there may bring new life to that area where people now may feel more secure, businesses may feel more secure being there. So we could be potentially adding.
Could be a marketing piece.
Yeah.
Stimulate something.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely, if I had a chance of building a business, you know, kind of
I think
out.
it brings people to that part of town. Like,
Right.
but I'm thinking like even like the ball field, you know, gets more people to see it. They realize
There's always new people coming to town.
Is there any advantage keeping a lot you have for anything down the road?
Well,
I mean, like you said, if that starts to blossom in that area, would that be advantage for something else? I can't think of nothing offhand, but.
no, I think you're onto something, but I just almost, you know, that could be an option. It could be a viable thing to discuss. But we also have to look at the negative of now it's more expensive now we're just buying another piece of property. I think the town's vote
Yeah.
won't go along with it. I think you might be onto
I think if we
something.
liquidate to offset
Offset.
costs.
Other than to keep it as investment
So
property.
we couldn't switch it, we couldn't buy a lot next to 1550?
Let's do this.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
City Hall.
Do we want to entertain a motion to send to the selectmen? With lot choice?
make a motion that we recommend lot 15. I'm trying to think. how it- Contingent upon the appraisal of both lots, or I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, or,
Okay. Should we amend that in any fashion? Anybody have anything they want to add
That's
to that?
probably the only thing I would think of, but it's got more positives than the other one. The positives are longer than.
We've covered everything else. That's the only thing we don't have.
Okay.
So you seconded it.
Second. Do we need we don't need a roll call vote for that. All those in favor of the motion for lot 15 contingent upon the appraisal signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. Lot 15 it is. For the next meeting, I believe our next meeting is for next Monday night. 5:30 works better for everyone?
I will not be there because I will be traveling on business.
Okay.
I could call in, no, I'll be on a plane. Never mind.
That's the night.
You have Wi-Fi. You can have Wi-Fi on the plane now.
30th.
I can't call.
No, but you
So
can.
it's the 23rd?
23rd.
I want to bring something up before we're done, but I mean, we
Okay.
can finish this discussion
All
and.
right, so I think I'm just so the 23rd
5:30.
at 5:30 here
Here.
in this building. Well, I guess we probably might not know what room yet. Here.
Probably upstairs.
I think there's
We're okay.
Okay.
I think it was the last week of the month. It's not.
10 to 23.
I got this, I don't have what it says.
So the next Monday will be the.
Okay, Chuck, you said you had something else?
Before we get going too far and making, so to speak, all the decisions that were set forth, we discussed last week about reaching out to potentially interested parties or disinterested parties to kind of get a different point of view. I mean, I think our decision of doing that, but should somebody reach out to parties? I think we brought up to discussion, and maybe you guys brought up people of interest that we think we may, whether they invite them to the meetings, ask them their opinions. The reason that I think we discussed that was the simple fact to answer questions that they may have, or maybe if they're thinking outside the box or a different box, we can satisfy those questions before we get too far into it. I don't think we want to decide everything, bring it to this is my opinion, bring it to the town, and then have those questions brought up then, and people be swayed because we don't have the answers. I think we are coming up with all the answers to the questions that we have, but I think...
There's only 7 of us, is what you're saying.
Right, I mean, there's people out there, like Eric brought up, somebody's going to have that book. Somebody's going to have that old thing. We all have maybe a handful of people that we think may be thinking differently than us, and that's okay. We just need to find out what those questions are and
Can we tap into that?
get those questions answered. Do we, and I don't know I don't think this is the right answer, but do we do something through social media in a instant message, not a public forum, but do we do something so the concerned general public can ask us questions now? Because if we don't ask them questions and get them answers now, they're going to ask it there. And the one thing that I don't want to be is I don't want to feel uninformed. You know what I mean? That we're not being transparent.
Yep.
And I think we're only going to satisfy the majority of concern by people by somehow reaching out to them. I'm not sure the avenue to do that is, but I think we need to look at that question.
I would agree. I did reach out to a couple this week and encourage them to come to our meetings. And I would love, I'd love to see 10 people sitting in the crowd.
Well, and like I say, with the social media is really...
Sometimes all it takes is, hey, I had a great meeting. You get on the right thing.
Well, and I thought of
Had a
like
great
checking
meeting tonight.
like I thought of checking into this, because what it's going to do is it's going to generate interest. It's going to generate questions.
I don't want to make it so that it sucks, it's a bad idea. You know, I want to make it in a positive spin. Just, I guess, in my past in different committees and different boards and different things that I'm in, people like to feel that you're being transparent. I'm not sure the social media is the way, but I think if we at least somehow entertain getting information out there that we're having these meetings, it's open to the public, we're asking for public input, it can never be thrown in our face. Well, we never knew there was any meetings. And you can express it in the paper and on social media, and you're still going to get that response. But at least if we have something that says, these are the things that we tried to do to publicize our meetings.
Especially when we're picking a meeting date on minutes that may not be uploaded in time. If anybody's watching these, right, they don't know when the next meeting.
Yeah, but at what level are you going to start this at?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, I don't know. But we have to entertain the question, I think.
I have two thoughts. Do we create a Facebook page strictly related to that? Because we can control what, and I'm not trying to censor anything,
Well, of course, yeah.
but if you get someone that's putting up a stink that is from outside of Tilton, that isn't relative, you can control that if you have a group, a page.
Like a Franklin's Talking, or
Yeah,
any of those type of.
yeah, but you know, the moderators, the admins for that page can control what's actually put out there.
Sure.
You can remove a comment. But my other side of that was, during this process, maybe we should have and I don't know if it's possible, at the Tilton Senior Center, to have a meeting or two, to get maybe people on that side of town to go to those meetings.
Taxpayers only.
Well, concerned taxpayers, we could put it as...
Everybody else has to sit behind the rail,
Yeah.
right?
We did talk about at our meetings, we would allow public comment.
Yeah, we were going to open it
So we
for.
would, if there were public here, we would open it at the
5
end
minutes or
of the
3
meeting
minutes.
to a public comment.
Absolutely.
But
Why would you not?
goes to my point, you know, I'm going to point the fingers at myself. There's a lot of things, like tonight there was a school board meeting. If I wasn't here, I would be there. You know, there's a lot of things that happened in the last school board meeting, which is the first one I've attended in years, that I realized maybe I should get my ass to more of them. And if we weren't here, I would have been there. But the reason I went to that one is because of things that were going on, and I found out about it. And I can tell you there's probably going to be more people there tonight because of people expressing interest or whatever the reason being. It's being publicized. It's in social media. I saw, you know, different things being posted. I think we have to involve, if we want this to succeed, we have to involve the public now, not at town meeting, because the town meeting, you're going to get the people who, it's too late.
Is there a town Facebook page now? The town does not have one.
There is.
However, we do have a
Right,
website.
especially if any of those people wanted to be there, but
Sure.
you can't be in
Sure.
too many places at once, and the only way you're going to catch up with it is on some sort of forum.
There is a Tilton NH Facebook page.
Is it followed?
Well, I think
No, because it's deactivated
I
right now.
think we, if
I
we're
own
going
it.
to do, oh, okay, well,
I
that's,
created it.
well, what the point I'm getting at is if we do create, I mean, Facebook opens like a whole different realm, a possibility, positive and negative, you know, you have to accept both of them, but I think no matter if we decide to do something,
But isn't Tilton Northfield talking, isn't that a group?
no,
Isn't it a page?
what, the point I'm getting at is we need to be in control of this, we need to
Right.
set this
Be a
Facebook
separate-
page up,
yeah.
we need to be able to, you know, be the admins, we need to be able to control it, because the last thing you want in any organization that I'm
False
doing,
information.
well, false information, but we also have to control the comments. You know what I mean? Because there's some people out there who say some things and do some things that are just either offensive,
non-constructive.
vulgar, whatever it may be.
Is it as simple as, I don't know if I'm in favor of the social media, the Facebook thing.
Sure.
I'm a little bit leery of how destructive that can be. Is it possible to do a mailing to every taxpayer?
I think you're going old
Very
school.
expensive.
What's this gonna cost me? What's this gonna cost me? I can hear it behind me now.
Sure, but that's okay. That's okay. That's
It's gonna cost you nothing, it's gonna cost everybody
I would
something.
think the police association would pay for it.
I got a call the other day that wanted us to, that wanted us to donate.
The police.
How many more tickets a month is that?
Take donations tonight.
It has to
Is that
be.
a no?
I'm not saying we do it or don't do it, but I think we have to entertain something to tackle that.
Yeah, I don't
Need to be
disagree with you
visible.
about what's the best method.
We
do
need
it.
to be transparent. I mean, I know we're videoing this and everything like
Is
that.
there another way that the town uses for mass notification?
We have an alert system.
Might be a little extreme.
Alert. Police meeting tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that was.
Donations.
Well, let's do this.
I just think we need to.
That's our homework to bring back for next Monday night. Is there needs to be keep in mind marketing also. One of the things that we talked about with the success of getting the park through was the fact that there was a marketing venture of stickers on the shirt type thing, and there was a lot of word of mouth, and that's what got the votes through.
It was one mouth, but it was word of mouth.
You can also talk to Donna. She can do a story.
No, and I would. I mean, I saw Donna today, but what I'm saying is,
That's a good idea.
but we need to entertain different avenues. I don't even think, to be honest, I don't even think a
get
Facebook
it.
page is if we decided to do that, I don't think that's enough. I think talking to
You
donors.
got to fish with a fish sharp.
What kind of volume, what kind of volume are you scared of?
What do you mean
How
volume?
many people show up?
I wouldn't be afraid of any volume. I would say the more the better.
How many times does the town put an ad in the paper, there's a board meeting or something? How many people actually show up to that stuff?
It depends on what the subject matter is.
That's right, it's a subject
They're
matter.
trying to build
Yeah.
like a
I
opioid
think
crisis
that
center.
if we put a
They-
public notice of a police station committee on October 23rd at Town Hall.
That's another avenue.
I think that if you put that in there and it's a public notice, and if can we take a page, not a page, but can we take an ad in the Winnisquam Echo that says just that?
I can't say one way or another. The selectmen are going to have to approve the monies.
I
But
think, yeah. I mean, we can entertain that, but again, I just want to at least have that to say, I never knew there was any meetings. Well, here's the list. I don't care if it's just, in putting it in the town hall, putting it in, having Donna do an article that
The police have a
Facebook page, exactly.
They can put it on their
Well, but I'm
Facebook
just saying,
page. We can put it on our own
I think
Facebook
we
page.
need to, I'm not saying we need our own, but I think we need to have somebody that's in control of that, I think putting it on the Tilton Police page is a great idea. I mean, it's,
Because they can also monitor the comments.
well, they can monitor, but I don't think, I think part of the social media is not only getting the word out there, but we're gonna get some questions. We have to be the ones that, we need, I mean, nothing, we're kind of dumping that. I think it's good to have them put a comment on there that they're having a police commission, the town, to do that. But if we're looking for questions or people to be involved, and we're going to go social media, we have to control it. I mean, if Eric owns that, then so be it. But I think as far as letting people know we have meetings, but there's going to be people that have questions, so maybe.
Well, why
Looking for input.
can't we do this? Let's come up with a bulletin. Can we use town letterhead to put the bulletin on, a public notice that says a police station construction committee has been formed. These are the people that are on the committee.
Here's the people.
Here's the people, and the meetings are set for October 23rd, October 30th, and whatever else our dates are. It's on a sheet, and if you choose to share it on your personal Facebook
Sure,
page,
and that may,
it's pinned downstairs.
Yeah.
It's pinned at the community center.
it's on the Tilton Police Department's page. I think that's good, and we can try that. You know what I mean? We need to.
Is there anything against one of us or a few of us going to the community center for a morning coffee?
like a questions?
Maybe just a generic question
No,
and
I
answer
think
session?
we need to get the public involved, even if nobody shows up.
You could say, hey, we did this.
We did this. We advertised it in all these things, kind of like, have coffee with a cop. You know what I mean? Whatever, however they promoted that. 2 people show up, nobody shows up, 100
What's
people
the
show up.
following at the community center? Is there a large group that goes there?
300 show up.
I've never been there, so I don't.
They don't show up that many for town meeting.
No,
You mean,
don't worry,
you
you're
mean
safe.
like, are we talking
Tomorrow morning.
at
What-
the senior center?
At the senior center.
I-
Is there a big following?
There is Wednesday nights, music night.
Just
Maybe you
keep
can have
going.
it now.
What's that?
At the
Senior
senior
center.
center. When are most people at the senior center?
Tuesdays and Thursdays at lunch. There's 65 people.
65
But how
people.
many of
That's
those are Tilton residents?
A good portion of them. Yeah.
that might
Well,
not.
it doesn't, for something like that.
On Wednesday night,
When you only get 150 to come to town meeting.
Wednesday night's music, but you don't want to mess with the music. You got to get there early.
Does the town's alert
You do a good
system do
job.
email alerts? The alert system that we
Is that why you
have.
can't come here
So-
on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 'cause
there's
I'm up there playing
what I'm
and
thinking
stuff.
is there's a collection of email addresses that are hopefully 90% town residents.
yep.
A
We
listserv.
could harvest that. We could do something like constant contact. Send out an email to those people and get that,
Right,
just-
even if it's not a question and answer, it's just
No, but
simply
we
we're
can
having
create,
this meeting.
I'm sure Tim can create us an email address so that, it could be police building at tiltonnh.org, whatever the town website is.
PD build that.
Yeah, and that goes, and this way it goes to someone that is really not any of us, and this way if someone doesn't like that question, they don't bury it. And it just, it goes through Joyce or filtered through Joyce.
And on that bulletin, it could say, please direct all questions to TPD build, Tilton PD building.
Right, right, so it's not a,
My one question is how do you control that it's only, the questions are only from Tilton residents when they come through email?
I don't think,
that should be part of the letter. These questions are from, we're expecting questions from local Tilton.
we don't really know, because what happens if my mother, who's 80 years old, doesn't use a computer and is talking to her daughter in Florida or Virginia, and she enters a question for her? I guess
It doesn't matter.
you could have it so that you have to enter your name and address.
You're opening a bag of worms here that I don't think you can close.
But I think if we
I
have it on
think you've
social
got this,
media,
I think, you're going to go to Mars and back before you get this thing resolved. You're overcomplicating it. I'm not saying to cut and dry and send everybody a flyer, but...
Well, even if we don't even make it a question and answer kind of comment, if we do something, like we said, we send out a bulletin, we're not asking for questions, we're not asking for answers, we're just notifying
There you go.
the general public. And it's another way of looking at it, so we're not, don't ask me a question. If you have a question, bring it to town hall, or email.
Would this committee be opposed to me working with Joyce and whoever else at town hall, whether it's Tim, and creating just a one-sheet public notice that just says public notice?
Yeah.
Tilton Police Station Building Committee has been formed. These are the members, and please forward all questions. And I would honestly, I think I'd run all the questions to Joyce, and then
You better check with Joyce, because
she might say no. But to work on a bulletin that can be posted by a push pin, or it can be emailed. You could upload it to your Facebook page.
sure, and I think it's
It's
getting
one
the word
generic
out
message.
there.
Get the word out.
So if somebody has those, instead of building up all this
Here's when we
animosity
meet, and it's
or
open to the
whatever.
public.
Right.
Done.
And not elaborate.
No,
That's it, just notification.
Just notification, that's
Just
it.
that's it.
right.
Open
No
to the
questions
public.
and answers. If you have them, bring them to
No,
the.
I wouldn't go that far.
Just keep it short.
I wouldn't
Well,
go-
if they have the questions and they have their burning
They're gonna bring
questions,
them.
they should come to the
Right,
meeting.
that's what I mean. Come to these meetings.
We encourage your participation.
Right.
Public opinion.
Under the town.
There would be a public comment, there will be a public comment session at.
But that's the time for that public hearing. We're gonna have 2 public hearings. You know, you're having a public hearing now. We can't do that until after we've done our next 2
We
deals.
could have 5,
They can all be
as long as
public,
we
yeah.
count 2 of them as a public hearing.
Right.
I'd say, once we have a site, I think we really encourage.
Right, now that we're.
All right, so
we're-
if you wanna do it that way, then do it that
Maybe we
way.
wait until we pick the site and.
And that's almost a test of the process, because if we pick the site and that word gets out, and then the naysayers, or yay-sayers, people start filtering in saying, well, what'd you pick that for? Well, good. Glad you're here, because
Right.
this is what we did. And then
What do
that's
you
just
think?
the first
What are your
wave of-
questions?
Yeah,
What
that's
do you-
a little bit.
The more we share about what we got done.
Absolute
You
transparency.
know, the questions will start, well, why did you do that? Well,
Okay.
here's what we
Does
did.
everyone
And this is
here
what
has
we're gonna
email?
do next week, so fasten your seatbelt, you know?
All right, so
What's an email?
I don't know how to read.
Carrier pigeon.
we'll send out hopefully an email between now and next Monday with a draft. Just say yes or no, or maybe make some additions, and then on Monday night we'll pick it and then we'll mail.
Tim should be setting up an email that says police study at tiltonnh.org, which will go to all of us at the same time.
Okay.
Or PD,
Yeah, it's
building
PDs.
committee, something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out to everyone, on the town website, if you go to on the left-hand side, there's a lot of tabs, and if you go to Town of Tilton Police Building, there's a number of different, the 2009 town meeting update,
That's already
former
picked.
police building committee meeting in business, 2009 minutes, 2008 minutes, 2008
Look like this?
workshop.
Does it look like all this that
Yeah.
gave us that?
Yeah.
All of this, you can just click on it and get everything. The designs that we had from 2009, the draft design, the 2008 designs, the media presentation from the March 2008 meeting, just to get some ideas. The highlights, the footprints, everything is right here on this website.
How many past committee members are still around or available? Would it also be in our best interest to maybe ask them, just to, even if they only come to one meeting, so maybe we can pick their mind and their brain of what problems that they had or what things that they felt, because everybody sees things differently. My view is different than if we had them just come to kind of maybe answer those questions that the person who has that question isn't going to come to any meetings, they're going to bring it up, so we can just basically more inform ourselves what things to look at.
There's probably 11 committees that we've had.
Well, and
And
maybe
every
don't go
person
back 10
that
years, 'cause-
served on that is, you know, I mean,
but would it be in our interest to reach out to them to maybe come and
I would say that it probably would. I
give
mean,
us some more insight?
Well, if you go on to the website and review those minutes
Yep.
and some of the documents, you should see the names of who was on the committee, right?
Oh yeah,
I don't think it would hurt to reach out to any of them.
there's a lot of them still around.
Yeah.
A lot
I
of
mean, I
them.
don't want to have 5 people call one person. That's what I was saying.
No.
Should we like discuss, hey, I know these people, I can talk to these 6, or should we all just reach out to whoever we think?
I would say if you look at it and you see a few names of, hey, I see that guy every other day,
Yeah.
and I know that guy, reach out
It's
to
more
him.
natural, it's less scripted.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah,
you
yeah.
run into them.
Yeah.
Hey, I was just doing my research and saw that you were.
Yeah, I wouldn't break the list out.
Well, I'm
I'd
just thinking,
look at it.
again, it gives us more information of the sites and all that stuff are all well and good, and that's our duty, but what are the questions? What are the...
It really should be updated for us currently, because when you look under boards and commissions and you click on the police study and it says board members, when you click on board members, all of us should be listed there.
Right.
All of
Who
us.
updates that, Tim?
Tim.
Okay, so can you have him do that?
He's going to need to get contact numbers and stuff.
Okay.
Emails.
Now, are you reaching out to get all the contact numbers and emails or something? Or remember you mentioned at the beginning, or...
for us.
Yeah,
I think Joyce already has it all.
yeah, okay. I know she has mine, but,
So.
but
what
Tim
I-
would have it, I guess, is what I was saying, so he has,
Yeah, Tim has all that.
Okay.
No, what I'm gonna ask Joyce to do is just send us all an email with a list
of our names. and-
names, telephone numbers, and we already have emails, we just reply all. But, and our numbers, so if I wanna call you.
Sure, sure.
I don't want that on a public document.
No, I would agree, just for us.
Our names on the public.
I know where to find you anyway.
I know where to find you. I just call 911.
Is there anything else to come before tonight's meeting? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Get out of here.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? See you.
What did Ed say? That's good.
Should we
More
say
than
goodbye?
one.
Yeah, I think they should go.